Hello, my name is Fernando Ufret.
And you are seriously listening and watching Loudwire. You guys.
Now, the song that made me play guitar, that's kind of tricky because a couple of songs made me play guitar. And I was 9 years old and I wanted to be Slash. I wanted to look like Slash playing a Les Paul, and he just looked cool, and it was the whole thing, you know, and running around with a guitar and all the whole package. Now, you could argue that it was Paradise City. You could argue that it was Sweet Child of Mine, anything from Appetite for Destruction. But once I actually picked up the guitar, which was one of the first riffs and songs that I learned, which were two actually, was Mother by Danzig and Enter Sandman by Metallica. So I picked up the guitar and I didn't know how to play, and my buddy was like, well, you got to start with like, and then we figured out that we could, but that's not right. It's, and for you guys listening out there that play guitar, I'm in E flat, just in case. And the same thing with Enter Sandman with. So I got my first day of guitar, those two songs, and the beginning of it. So guys, it's friggin' soup of a lot of things. And it was 1991. I was 9. I was learning how to play guitar. It was happening. Now, those were the first 3 songs that I learned, just the intros and the riffs, and then I started getting into some Iron Maiden and stuff. But the people who started me on stuff like that were the Arias brothers, a couple of houses down from my grandma's, a couple of brothers that lived, down the street, and they were learning how to play guitar, and Juan Carlos was the one who knew the most, and he taught me how to play some Guns N' Roses. He taught me how to play some Green Day. Some old school, like 1990, 1991 Green Day, like Kerplunk stuff. And we would go back and forth and teach each other what we could figure out. Back then, you had to like record music videos and play them back and stuff like that. But after that, I learned on my own and just swapping stories and swapping, like, I learned this from this guitar player and I saw him do this. Have you ever seen that before? Stuff like that. So, I like I said, I started playing a lot of Iron Maiden. So, of course, stuff like that. And then I discovered Dream Theater through a friend of mine, and that was it for me. That was the whole deal. Now, I struggled with things that I couldn't put names to because our group was still very, very young, and the kind of techniques that I didn't know the names to, or if it wasn't like super famous and everybody knew about it, I learned about palm muting from a friend who's like, oh, check this out. My brother kind of figured this out the other day. So and you're like, oh, that's that crunchy sound, right? And we all played classical guitars. We grew up in Puerto Rico, and everything was a classical guitar, not just an acoustic. If you had an acoustic, then you were like playing in a band or something like that. So one technique that once I found out what it was, gave me like a really hard time, was economy picking. I still can't do it to this day. I don't think I'll ever do it, just because the way I learned how to play, just kind of I had a lot of patience and a lot of discipline. I never, ever stretched into economy picking with that kind of patience and discipline. That should tell you everything. Acoustic intros. I could think of 3 like off the bat. Like, well, of course. Another Day by Dream Theater. I can think of That's Tears of the Dragon by Bruce Dickinson. And I kind of messed it up there. And one more, of course, very iconic. And this one I'm going to mess up and people are going to like, guys, give me a break, all right? I haven't played this one in a while, so kind of, right? Okay, the Cartman story is actually very interesting because it was my first interaction with South Park. The moment that I learned that I could do this, I was watching the movie Bigger, Longer, and Uncut for the first time with my buddies. We were all in a band together, and Alain, which was the drummer back then, still my buddy to this day. I love you, bro. He was watching the movie. He's like, guys, you haven't seen the South Park movie? And I'm like, I've never seen South Park at all. And when we walked in, it was that part when they implanted the V chip in him, and it's like, say pillow.
Hey, pillow.
And that was it.
I said, pillow.
And that was it. And that was it. That was it. I learned that I could do that and milked it every single second in every single band practice we could. And it didn't even become a whole thing until a whole bunch of years later. I used to put it in like the prayer part of Enter Sandman because I wasn't the singer for my band. And I would do the prayer part. Like there's a... Now I lay me down to sleep.
Now I lay me down to sleep.
Pray the Lord my soul to keep.
Pray the Lord my soul to keep.
And that part, that was it. That was it. And then I was playing a show back in like mid-COVID 2021. I was on Twitch, and all of a sudden... somebody comes in and it's like, I remember you doing something at some point with Enter Sandman with Cartman. Can you do that for us here? I saw it on your YouTube channel because I snuck it in there. Once I made my own YouTube channel just for stuff, just like to have covers up on there. I snuck that in there just to, keep it legit like we used to back in the day. And that person remembered, came over to my stream, and it's like, could you do that for us? So I did, and then somebody tipped me to do another one and another, and that was the beginning of the whole Cartman thing. Now, my favorite songs to do in the voice of Cartman are the ones that you least expect it. Like the other day I did the
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you guys.
Stuff like that. Like,
I love you, baby, and if it's quite alright, I need you, baby.
And it's very, very important to say, I did that for the first time the other day on stream, and it was hilarious. And you never know which one it's going to be until you do it. And then I'm like, and those are the ones that you never plan. And then you have to do like a million takes just to get it without laughing. One of the things I want to make clear, because everybody out there's a lot of people who know Cartman from now South Park. My Cartman is a tribute to season 1, 2, and 3, when Trey Parker used to do it with his own voice. He's done it for like 25 years now, something like that, and he doesn't need to be straining his voice now. So guys, right now I have a Cartman album coming out. It's an impression parody album coming out February 14th, Valentine's Day, and it'll be available everywhere you stream music. You can find me on TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Those places. Same name everywhere. Did you see the hat? I do mostly normal stuff on my YouTube channel. We might open up a new YouTube for Cartman Sings, but I don't know. We'll see. I want to thank you guys. Thank you so much, Loudwire. You guys have been incredible. Thank you so much for having me.
And screw you guys. I'm going home. I'm seriously.